Last Tuesday, I sat down at 9 in the morning to write. I made the coffee, cleared the desk, and opened the document. 90 minutes later, the page was still empty, and I'd read the exact same news article 4 times. Our default reaction to this kind of morning is self-blame. We assume we are lazy or that we lack the discipline required to do the work. Focus behaves like a dial rather than a switch. Treating it as a character trait you can force often pushes the state further away, as the biological machinery of focus resists the pressure of the inner critic. Commanding your brain to engage is often counterproductive. It is comparable to yelling at yourself to relax. The effort itself creates the tension you are trying to avoid. During a true state of flow, the work feels rewarding in real time, and your sense of time distorts. The inner voice that usually monitors your performance goes quiet, and the activity becomes its own goal. Because this peak state is triggered involuntarily, we have to look past willpower and understand the biological systems that actually govern it. Under the hood, peak focus involves the brain operating with surprising efficiency. Instead of working harder across the board, the brain actually quiets specific regions to deepen engagement. This is known as transient hypofrontality. During this state, the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for self-monitoring and tracking time, temporarily powers down. This silences the self-critic and allows you to lose track of the hours. Simultaneously, a structure in the brainstem releases a surge of norepinephrine and dopamine. This chemical combination sharpens your focus and locks your attention onto the task without triggering the panic associated with stress. We cannot consciously command the prefrontal cortex to shut off its own volume. Instead, we must build an environment that prompts the brain to quiet down on its own. In the 1970s, psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi studied the internal experiences of thousands using medical pagers. He programmed them to go off at random moments, asking people to record exactly what they were doing and how they felt. This table shows the data collected from over 100,000 snapshots of ordinary human experience. It revealed an unexpected trend. People reported being in deep flow far more often at work than during their free time. Passive activities like watching television resulted in the lowest flow states recorded. Because these activities ask nothing of the viewer, the brain remains unchallenged and eventually becomes restless. The human brain requires the striving and struggling for a goal worthy of its attention. Without a challenge to push against, the mind doesn't truly rest, it simply goes slack. The mechanism that triggers this state is the balance between the difficulty of a task and your current skill level. When a task falls far below your skill level, your brain becomes understimulated. You drift into boredom and reach for your phone because the task isn't recruiting enough of your attention. If the difficulty is far above your skill, the brain panics. This produces anxiety and dread, leading to procrastination as you look for any way to escape the pressure. Flow exists in the narrow band right between these two states. It is found at the outer edge of your ability, hard enough to demand your full attention, but not so hard that you are overwhelmed. Rock climbing provides the immediate feedback needed to stay in this channel. Every slipping grip is an unmistakable signal that requires an instant response. This principle also governs high-stakes professions like surgery. When every movement has an immediate consequence, the brain has no choice but to remain fully engaged. Modern knowledge work often lacks this instant feedback and has vague goals. To find focus, we have to artificially construct these boundaries ourselves. Even when a task is perfectly calibrated, absorption is not instantaneous. We don't enter a state of deep focus the moment we sit down at a desk. It requires 10 to 15 minutes of uninterrupted attention for the brain to build the neurochemical runway needed for flow. Every notification or quick glance at a second screen resets this 15-minute clock. These interruptions pull the prefrontal cortex back online and force the brain to climb the entire approach to focus again from the ground. When we struggle to focus, the problem is rarely a lack of willpower. It is often that a divided environment never gives the biological runway a chance to launch. You can use a simple question to diagnose why focus is slipping. Is this task too easy or too hard right now? If you are bored, you must artificially increase the challenge. Cut your deadline in half, or try to write in fewer words. These constraints push the dial up to a level that recruits your attention. If you are anxious, you must artificially lower the challenge to eliminate dread. Reduce a massive project down to a single sentence or a 5-minute task. Shrink the goal until it meets your current skill. We find focus by engineering the right conditions. By adjusting the dial of the task and protecting the biological runway, we allow absorption to simply happen.